Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of A Little Bit Unglamorous. I'm your host Erica Renee, and today we have a little bit of a different background. As you can see, I got some outdoor action going on here, and I'm coming live from Phoenix, Arizona, and I love doing these on the road podcasts. I think they're so fun. It was kind of a bit of a last minute trip up here and a full 7-hour drive from San Diego, and we're here. It reminds me of where I grew up, well, because I grew up in a desert, but I love the warm weather, and I think it's like 100 degrees here right now. So the drive for me was supposed to be about 5.5, 6 hours. It took me around 7 to get here, and thank God I was in the mood to drive because it took forever, and it's one of the longest drives I've ever done. Before this, I had only driven maybe like 2.5 hours to go to Palm Springs just to see my family. So it was kind of a fun adventure for me. I've never been to Phoenix, so I'm exploring all the sites while I'm here. Last night I played Top Golf for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. Golfing is a lot harder than it looks. I was not good at it by any means, and I've also spent a lot of time by the pool, which was also a lot of fun. So I have some fun things that I want to talk about this week. Most importantly, the Eras Tour film, which, if you know, I had been waiting for to come out for the longest time, and I want to talk all about the premiere in LA and how I ended up going to see the movie not once but twice. So Eras Tour is my new personality. So the Eras Tour premiered in Los Angeles. It was supposed to come out on October 13th because 13 is Taylor's lucky number. It was a Friday, and last minute she announced she was doing a premiere on that Wednesday in LA at the Grove. So she invited, I believe, around 2,000 of her fans from online, and I think I saw some influencers there as well, but supposedly most of them were handpicked based on their fan accounts, and they got to see her walk the red carpet into the theater. And some fans were lucky enough to get to watch the movie in the same theater that Taylor was watching the movie in as well. So she even took an hour or so just to take photos with fans, which I thought was really cool. Personally, I'm glad that she showed up by herself and didn't bring anybody with her. I know everybody is loving the whole Travis Kelce relationship stuff. She's been out and about a lot lately, and personally I love seeing all her street style. I love seeing her out, and it just really feels like she is finally herself again. But this is the biggest moment arguably in her career. I'm glad it wasn't outshined by her newest relationship. So I'm kind of glad that Travis didn't show up to the premiere, because the spotlight was on her, which as it should be, and she was surrounded by her dancers, and she had a blast. So I follow a lot of Swifties online, and I really wanted to go check out some of the AMC merch ahead of time, just because you know how crazy the Taylor Swift realm has been lately. I just didn't want to deal with all of the lines, and people are supposedly selling these popcorn tins for upwards of $300, which is absolutely outrageous, but I cannot say I'm surprised at all. And I saw a few people were able to stop by the theaters ahead of time and pick up their merch before all of the chaos. So I thought, what a great idea. So I decided to stop by my local AMC the day before and see if they would let me pick up any merch. And so I'm walking around the mall. I had some errands to do anyway, but I couldn't get into the theater without a ticket. They wouldn't let me purchase anything unless I had a ticket for that day. So I thought to myself, well, are there any more tickets? And I don't think a lot of people knew that she opened up ticketing. It was originally premiering on that Friday, but because of the demand, she opened up more dates. So she expanded to Thursday, and I ended up buying a ticket just so I could pick up the merch ahead of time. And I was in a theater, and I kid you not, I was one of 5 people in the theater, and I went to go see the movie, ended up seeing it by myself, and it ended up being one of the most fun experiences I had ever done, just because I can't think of that many people that would want to sit through this 3-hour movie with me that didn't love Taylor Swift as much as I do. So I would have felt guilty the whole time and wondering if they were having fun. So I really got to experience it in its entirety, and the 4 other people that were there were just so nice. People brought bracelets, and I had made a couple of them for Friday, and I thought to myself, what if I end up seeing the movie on Thursday? I should have brought some bracelets or something like that. But I did end up seeing the movie, so I had tickets for Friday. I unexpectedly watched it on Thursday as well. Friday the theater was a little bit more packed, but the seats next to me were empty, so it was also a really awesome experience for me. But people were chanting, people were clapping. It was treated like almost as if I was reliving the concert again, which is what made it so fun, especially since they filmed it at one of the LA dates I was actually at. So it was almost like being there again. And part of me was really hoping that I would make a little cameo with my mom in the movie, but I actually know a few fans that did get small cameos in the movie from when they were in the crowd shots, which I thought was really fun. What a cool memory that would have been. But I really hope the movie comes out on streaming platforms soon. I think she has a contract with Disney Plus, so it probably will be released. But I was also really excited because Taylor was supposedly dropping by 13 random theaters to say hello to people. I'm not sure which theaters she ended up dropping by. I hadn't heard anything further about it, but part of me felt like one of the theaters was going to be mine, which looking back is completely delusional. So getting into some fun pop culture topics, last week I had so much fun talking about celebrity brands that you might have forgot existed that I really wanted to do a part 2. So this week I have a roundup of more celebrity brands that you may or may not have heard of. But before we get into it, there's a few hot topics that I have noted. Most notably, you know that Britney Spears' new memoir is coming out on the 24th, and I have been talking nonstop about how I can't wait to buy it, and I'm definitely going to read it while I'm traveling. And I've seen tabloids about Justin Timberlake supposedly being nervous about the memoir, and people are wondering why. What could she possibly say about him that could make him nervous? Well, I saw today an article that makes a whole lot of sense, and she dropped a bombshell in the new memoir. I'm not really sure how it got leaked, and I'm not sure how this didn't come out until now, because apparently back in the heyday of Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears when they were dating, all eyes are on them. Justin Timberlake, most notably after they broke up, went on this whole press tour talking about her and their relationship, and people were really honed in on the fact that Britney had stated in interviews that she wanted to remain a virgin until marriage. So people felt it appropriate to ask her at every single interview that she had ever been in. Britney Spears drops a bombshell in her new memoir, and we know why Justin was now shaking in his boots for this book to come out. So in her new book, she reveals that she had an abortion when she was 19 because Justin did not want to be a father and supposedly talked her out of keeping it, which is a huge shocker. I can't believe this news was kept under wraps for so long. And Justin's made a lot of comments to the media throughout the years that don't really age well considering this news. Pro-choice comments. You already know that I'm not Justin's biggest fan after his press tour going on Howard Stern and just making inappropriate comments about their relationship after they broke up. I just feel like Britney did not hold back in this book, and I want to know all of the details that she talks about. I know that I feel like there's a lot of things that she probably is not going to reveal in the book, just because you have to consult with your lawyers before you do anything like this. And I just really want to know how far she takes the book, because there's only so much she can reveal, right, without legal repercussions. People are probably going to come after her left and right with defamation lawsuits. I was not expecting that. I mean, on one hand, after hearing it, I can't say that I'm surprised, but on the other hand, they were pop royalty. They were the it couple of the 2000s. At one point in my perfect world, Britney and Justin would have ended up together, but I think she dodged a bullet, and I think she dodged a bullet with Sam too. In other news, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have been in the tabloids a lot recently, especially after the infamous Oscars slap of 2022, where Chris Rock was hosting the Oscars and he was making some pretty lowball jokes about Jada Pinkett Smith. And he was making some pretty lowball jokes about Jada Pinkett Smith. And Will Smith interrupted the show, got up on stage, and slapped Chris Rock, which was freaking crazy. So it's finally been confirmed that they've been separated since 2016, which is kind of not a surprise, but for some reason they've never wanted to file legally for divorce. I feel like it's because of financial reasons, but shortly after, I just saw this article confirming that they've been split since 2016, and then today I saw another article saying they're reconciling, living together again, and supposedly getting back together, which is so strange. I've also been talking about a new show called House of Villains, and I'm excited to say I watched the first episode yesterday after I got into Phoenix, and I was watching TV. It happened to be on, and I got to see the first episode. So, as you know, they put a whole bunch of reality TV famous villains in one house, and personally I'm really excited to see Tiffany New York Pollard on reality TV again, because she is reality TV gold. She's the original HBIC, and I love her. She's so over the top, and she looks freaking phenomenal in the new show. She looks exactly like she did when she was on Flavor of Love. And I don't know how I didn't know this, but Shake from Love is Blind season 2, the man that everybody hates because he proposed to somebody and then to their face told them how beautiful they were, and then behind her back to all of his friends and the people on the show said that he wasn't attracted to her and that she reminds him of his sister or something. Basically embarrassed this poor woman, who's gorgeous by the way, on national TV. So I didn't know he was on the show, but I think that's really hilarious. And then also Anfisa from 90 Day Fiancé. She looked amazing on the show too. She's very introverted, so I'm actually surprised that she is doing this show with all of these over-the-top personalities, and you have to be stuck in this house with all of these people, cameras on you, kind of like Big Brother style. It seems to be kind of like Big Brother meets the Real World Road Rules Challenge. So basically they put them all into this house and they make them do challenges, and then slowly people get eliminated, and they're supposed to lie, cheat, and steal their way to the top, like they did originally on the shows that made them quote-unquote reality TV villains. So that's just my first impression of the show. There was already a little bit of drama on it. The original reality Mean Girl, Omarosa, is on the show, and who's the girl from The Bachelor? What is her name? Corrine. She's on the show as well. They immediately butt heads. So I had so much fun rounding up the first list of celebrity brands. It brought me down memory lane, and there's so many brands that jogged my memory that the second I remembered it, a slew of other brands came to mind. So I wanted to do a part 2, and without further ado, we're gonna talk about some more celebrity brands you may or may not have remembered, maybe even owned something from. And first, we're gonna kick it off with Heidiwood by Heidi Montag. And I completely forgot about this one. I actually owned a pair of shorts from this line. It was originally launched by Anchor Blue in 2008. And Heidi Montag was a reality TV star. She starred right next to LC Lauren Conrad in Laguna Hills and then later The Hills. her and her husband, Spencer Pratt, who are now still married today, by the way, which I think is pretty cool because they were also deemed reality TV villains. I don't know why they didn't get tapped to be put on that show. They were also famous reality TV villains, and their relationship actually ended, I believe, her friendship with Lauren Conrad to begin with. But anyway, so she came out with her own clothing brand in 2008. It was very short-lived. I believe they only had one launch for one season, and then Anchor Blue decided to go in a different direction. But I came across an article I thought was really funny, and it described the brand as stripper, friendly, and unwearable, which kind of describes the shorts that I had that I bought from this brand. So apparently Anchor Blue decided to phase out its celebrity endorsements shortly after that, and then eventually a year later, the entire company ended up filing for bankruptcy, and that was the end of Anchor Blue and also the end of Heidiwood. Another brand that came to mind in the 2000s was Stuff by Hilary Duff, which is, yeah, it rhymes, the funniest name ever. I thought the logo was kind of bad, honestly. But this launched originally in February 2004. It was a lifestyle brand sold exclusively in Target and US stores. The brand was targeted towards tween and teen girls, and it included lip care products, nail products, eye and body products, makeup. It later expanded to more things like backpacks, activewear, pretty much everything under the sun. They even eventually partnered with Michaels to include iron-on patches and sewing patterns and things like that for young girls. Pretty much they tried to create everything under the sun for this brand, but I remember this. I don't think I ever owned anything from this line, but it kind of at the time didn't really seem to have much direction. They just kind of wanted to see what stuck. So the line started to phase out in 2009, and according to Hilary Duff, she lost interest in the brand and was ready to move on and do other things, which makes sense because the brand didn't really, it seemed like she was kind of just putting her name on something and wasn't putting her heart and soul into it. But when I think of celebrity brands of the 90s and 2000s, the Olsen twins ran the game. The Olsen twins empire is one that has to be mentioned. It will go down in history as one of the greatest empires, fashion empires. They started as kids and are now expanding as adults. So the Olsen twins in the 90s were everywhere. They starred in Full House as Michelle Tanner. They're both playing the part of one role. So as children, they were in the limelight from the get-go. And from there, they had a VHS movie for everything. So they had a slew of VHS movies: It Takes Two, The Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley, Double Double Toil and Trouble, which I'm pretty sure I have that on VHS today. They had a series called You're Invited to Mary-Kate and Ashley's sleepover, birthday party, Christmas party, etc. You name it. I think there was like 10 or 15 different movies in this one series. So they have just dozens of movies, and they were just raking in the dough as kids. So when they became adults, they really had everything at their disposal to create whatever they wanted. And so they made their last movie together in 2002. It was New York Minute. I believe they were both 17 or 18 at the time, but I really loved that movie. I'm sad they decided to step away from the limelight and stop doing that. But before they created their now famous fashion line, The Row, which is doing amazing, they had a clothing line for girls that was sold exclusively in Walmart. And so it was aimed for girls ages 4 to 14 in stores across America. And they also had a conjunction beauty line as well called Mary-Kate and Ashley Real Fashion for Real Girls. And this was way back in 2004. And I know when I was growing up, I couldn't get enough of Mary-Kate and Ashley. They were the quintessential celebrity teen celebrity girls that everybody wanted to be. They were wholesome. They didn't get into any trouble. They were just doing their own thing. And so everyone was really surprised when they inadvertently stepped back from the limelight. They decided they didn't want to be actresses anymore. They wanted to be these fashion moguls. So they launched their clothing line that they still have today. It's called The Row. It was originally launched in 2006, and this was a much more grown-up brand. It's very high-end. It is considered couture, and it was named after Savile Row in London. So I think it's pretty funny because when they step back from the limelight, the paparazzi will take photos of them, and they live in New York City, so it's very cold there. They're always very bundled up. But whenever the paparazzi would catch photos of them, they'd be in a million different layers, just chain smoking cigarettes with their beaten down Hermes bag. That's my dream. So rich that I have this Hermes bag that I don't care about at all, and I just treat it like it's a grocery bag because I could just buy 10 more if I wanted to. But their style came to be known as homeless chic. So their brand is very well known, especially in the celebrity realm. They dress a lot of famous people, but for the average person, the brand is very outpriced, so I don't see myself buying anything from it anytime soon. A plain shirt for $2,000 is well out of my budget. So speaking of brands and endorsements that celebrities have done in the past, I believe in the 2000s, every celebrity tried to dabble in opening a restaurant, and when I was researching this, I came across one that I personally didn't remember at all, so tell me if you do. But back in the day, in 2002, in the height of Britney Spears' fame, she also tried to open a restaurant. It was called Nyla. So she named it after her two favorite places, which are New York and Louisiana, which is where she's from. It opened in June 2002 in Manhattan's Dillon Hotel. So the restaurant originally featured dishes with Cajun and Southern flair, and then also had sushi, and the prices ranged from about $16 to $26 a dish. So according to people.com, the restaurant didn't receive good reviews at all. It was cited for several health code violations, and because of that, it wasn't making enough money to stand on its feet. So in an attempt to save the business, they revamped the whole menu and started adding a bunch of random dishes on it that kind of really didn't go with the theme. And so eventually, 6 months after the restaurant opened, it closed its doors. That was that for Britney's restaurant venture. Another item I talked about a lot last week was the Kardashian empire, and they've had a lot of failed business attempts, but they've also had things that have made them a lot of money throughout the years. So one thing that I completely forgot about that's actually really funny, a failed business venture by the Kardashians was their Kardashian credit card. Yes, the Kardashians tried to launch their own credit card with a K, of course. So Kim and her sisters launched this credit card in 2008, and it was supposed to be a prepaid credit card, and at the time they were really excited to get into this financial venture, even though they knew nothing about it. So customers apparently complained that the card had extremely high fees. Are you surprised? And they quickly were under attack for marketing this credit card to young adults. All of this drama came to light. They backed out of their contract, stating they weren't aware of all of these fees. So I think we already know this, but just because a celebrity endorses something doesn't mean you should trust it. A lot of times celebrities don't even know what they're endorsing. They're just taking the payday, and then later it comes out that whatever they were endorsing has some sort of adverse health effects or financially puts people in a worse situation, and this is a prime example of that. So segueing back into celebrity fashion brands, Gwen Stefani launched her punk clothing line called Lamb back in 2003. And it stands for Love Angel Music Baby. It was after her album at the time, and she hired all those Harajuku girls to follow her around, and it was very Japanese, kawaii themed, and personally I loved that era of Gwen Stefani. I feel like that was at her height. Right, the celebrities typically launch all these additional ventures at the height of their fame. They're making the most money, they have the most eyes on them, so realistically the most consumers are going to be looking at buying whatever they're pushing. So the brand included clothing, shoes, bags, and they're all playful, bold colors based off of her own look. Personally, I don't think I ever owned anything from this brand. It included clothing, shoes, and I think it still exists today, although she's not really doing anything with it anymore. I think there's some sunglasses. So Gwen has shifted her focus to her new beauty brand that launched recently called Give Beauty, and I feel like that's where all the money is these days, because all these celebrities are hopping on the beauty train. We got Fenty Beauty, which makes Rihanna so much money. She could literally never make an album again and just be set. Who else is coming out with a celebrity beauty line? Even Lauren Conrad had one for a little bit during COVID. I think it was sold exclusively at Kohl's, and it shortly went under because Kohl's signed a contract with Sephora, which I actually think I bought. No, actually, I don't think I bought anything from that line, but I really wanted to own something from it, so I'm kind of bummed that I guess she didn't plan on relaunching it. But back to celebrity fashion. So we also have Avril Lavigne, who launched her fashion brand Abby Dawn in 2008. So Avril Lavigne was the punk girl of the moment. Everybody loved her song Skater Boy. She really made the punk fashion very mainstream. She used to wear the necktie, and shortly after, everybody wanted to wear a necktie. So Avril Lavigne came on the scene in 2002 with her hit song Skater Boy, and she was widely known for her tomboy style. She was kind of the opposite of everything the mainstream music industry was pushing at that time, with Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Gwen Stefani. All of them had these hypersexualized careers, and that was their image, and she was kind of the exact opposite of that. So she appealed more to the punk rebel style. She was known for her baggy jeans and the tank tops, and she would wear Converse and just more casual wear. She talked about the reason why she picked the name Abby Dawn. So when she launched this brand, she was 22 years old, and the name Abby Dawn is a nickname that her dad gave her as a child. She said it was a street that he saw, and all her friends in high school called her Abby, and she really liked the name. She liked the name so much, she said that she would one day think about naming her child Abby, but since she had a clothing line first, she named it Abby Dawn. So she describes it as it was rock glam, colorful, fun, and edgy, but wanted Abby Dawn to be affordable enough for everybody. So she made the price points extremely low. She also most notably and controversially put Kylie Jenner in one of her Abby Dawn fashion shows, and Kylie was 15 at the time, and she was the top model of the show, and she was responsible for the first look, the final look, and an additional one in the middle of the show. So this was a really big deal, and it was widely talked about. Personally, I didn't think Abby Dawn got as much notoriety as it did. Maybe 2015 was its heyday, but it's still around today. I believe it relaunched in 2018, and it reemerged because the punk scene is kind of becoming nostalgic again. You're seeing all of these old bands go on tour again, and I just feel like there's a mass nostalgia for pop punk, and there's another wave of the emo trends that's been really popular lately. So those are all the celebrity brands that I have for you this week. Did you own any of these? Did this jog your nostalgia? Because I have so much fun deep diving into this stuff. It really brings me back, and it's so funny that you can think about something and it just jogs all of the nostalgia to come rushing back, because I can't believe I own something from Heidi Montag's Heidiwood, and I just think that's so funny. So next week I will catch you back in San Diego, and then we will be on the road again to our next destination, and if you follow my YouTube channel, you already know where that will be. I'll link the video below. I'm trying to revamp my YouTube channel. As you know, I have another video coming soon with my updated nail routine because I get asked so often from my friends in my real life how I do my own nails. So that video will be coming soon, and then I'm also going to be documenting all of my travels and talking more about that a little bit on my YouTube channel if you want to follow along over there. And until next time, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in next week's episode of A Little Bit Unglamorous. Bye guys.